Let's beat exam anxiety together by solving this economics application paper. I have picked this ICSE Semester 1 examination paper from the year 2022 when we had COVID. That time there were two Semester 1 and 2 papers, so I felt that this paper covers half of the syllabus, making it perfect for your midterm prep. So in this video, we will tackle 25 MCQs together, the first 25 MCQs. Now, let's start. The first question is, which of the following is not a determinant of demand? Now, when we look at this question, we need to understand that which one of them is not a factor affecting demand. So if you look at the question, income of the consumer, price of related goods, and size of population, all three are factors affecting demand. But technology used to produce the good is a determinant of supply, not demand. So the answer is third one, technology used to produce the good. The second question is a market where homogeneous products are sold with no control over price by an individual firm or a buyer. So it means a market where these two features are met. One is that the products are homogeneous, which is the case of perfectly competitive market. And also in this market, the firm or the buyer, both are not price makers. They have no control over price. They both are price takers. So this is the condition of a perfectly competitive market. The third question is, what is the implication of a vertical demand curve? So vertical demand curve, if I take price here, demand here, vertical demand curve would be like this. So what does it tell me? That a vertical implies that the quantity demanded, this is the quantity demanded. This does not change regardless of the price. Okay, so even if price is going up, down, but demand is not changing. So this is the case of perfectly inelastic demand. I hope this is clear. So the answer is perfectly inelastic demand. Now let's go to the next one. As a result of a 5% increase in price, the demand for commodity X decreases by 12%. So the price elasticity of the commodity will be, now what you need to do, how do you calculate elasticity? You are going to look at the percentage change in quantity demanded, which is 12% divided by percentage change in price. Always remember, you have to check whether this is given in percentage or whether it's given change in price and change in quantity demanded. So in this case, already percentage is given, so directly you can calculate. So 12 by 5, it would be 2.5 2s are 10, 50, 5 4s are, so 2.4. 2.4 is greater than 1. So it means elasticity of price elasticity of demand is greater than 1. So first part is your answer to this question. Next question is, observe the relationship of the first pair of words and complete the second pair. So when you have single seller in the market, it's known as monopoly. When you have single buyer in the market, it's known as not duopoly, not monopolistic, but monopsony. So monopsony is your answer for the fifth question. Next is, savings is essential for capital formation. True or false? The answer would be true. Why? Because they provide the resources needed for investment in productive assets, which will drive economic growth and development. The next question is, the seller in a perfect market is a price maker. Definitely this is false. We have already discussed this answer here also in your question number 2. Okay, so in this type of market, the firm, the seller is a price taker, not a price maker. Next question is, tick the one which does not belong to the following group. You have land, interest, labor, entrepreneur. Now, when you look at this question, we already know land, labor, entrepreneur. What are these? These are all factors of production. So, interest is not the factor of production. Interest is a reward for the factor of production, which is capital. So, the answer here is interest. Interest is a reward, not the factor of production itself. Next question is, choose the correct term for the given definition. The ratio between the percentage change in supply to a percentage change in price. So if you know the definitions well, you already know what we are talking about. This is not law of demand. This is not law of supply. This would be elasticity of supply, percentage change in supply to a percentage change in price. Next question is, observe the relationship of the first pair of words and complete the second pair. Office furniture, if it's a fixed capital, then what would be par for running the plant? It's not remunerative capital, because remunerative capital is related to wages paid to the workers. Debt capital is capital which we borrow. Sunk capital, which has only one use, and like it can be only used for a specific purpose. So par for running the plant would be circulating capital. Next question is, choose the correct term for the given definition. Any activity which creates present and future utility. The answer would be production, because production refers to the process of creating goods or services that generate utility both in the present and future, which contributes to economic growth. Next question is, which of these features is found in both a perfectly competitive market and a monopolistically competitive market? The answer to this question would be no restriction on entry and exit. Both these markets allow firms, they freely allow them to enter. All the firms are allowed to freely enter or exit the market. But the other features, which is imperfect knowledge, homogeneous goods, and selling costs, differ between the two market structures. Only the first one is the common feature in both the markets. Next question is, the market demand curve is a dash summation of all individual demand curves. If you remember correctly, market demand curve is a horizontal summation. Okay, it's a horizontal summation of all individual demand curves. We add all the demand at various prices for each individual. So it's a horizontal summation. So the answer to this question would be none of the above, neither vertical nor lateral nor downward. Then you have shifting cultivation involves clearing of forests, burning of trees, movement from one place to another, all of the above. The answer to this would be all of the above. Next question is, the goods whose demand decreases as income increases. So we have to remember that when we are doing these type of questions, you have to remember your inferior goods, normal goods definitions. Now the goods whose demand decreases as income increases would be which type of goods? Those would be inferior goods. They are not luxuries, they are not given goods, they are not necessities. Okay, these are inferior goods. Inferior goods are those goods whose demand decreases as income increases. Which among the following is a feature of a monopsony market? Now this is again repetition, because earlier they had asked us that which market has single buyer in the market. Question number 5, something similar to that. So which among the following is a feature of a monopsony market? It's a single buyer market. Then you have land is considered a passive factor of production because it is free gift of nature, it is heterogeneous, it is immobile, it cannot produce anything on its own. So when we look at active or passive factor of production, we are looking at whether they can work on their own. So land cannot work on its own. Even capital cannot work on its own. You need labor and entrepreneur, active factors of production, to make these things work. So in this case, it is considered a passive factor of production because it cannot produce anything on its own. Next question is, pick the option which does not belong to the group. So you have railways, shampoos, televisions, biscuits. Now the answer to this question would be railways. Yes. So now if you look at this question, basically it is because railways is a infrastructure, it's a public service, while the other options are consumer goods sold in the markets. Another way to look at this is railways is an example of a monopoly. And shampoos, televisions, biscuits, they are not a monopoly market. They would be monopolistic market. So that is another way to look at that how railways is different from other three options. Next question is choose the correct order of capital formation. So first one is mobilization of savings, investment, savings. Second is savings, mobilization of savings and then investment. And third is investment, savings, mobilization of savings. Now, if you remember, these are basically, this is the process of capital formation which you have learned, in which we talk about that first you need to have savings, people should save money, and then we should have avenues to mobilize those savings, which will lead to investment. So the answer would be your second option. Question 20 is construction of dams always have positive effects. The answer would be false, because while the construction of dams can have positive effects, such as providing water for irrigation, flood control, providing hydroelectric power, but they can also have negative effects, including displacement of communities, environmental damage, and disruption of ecosystems. So the answer would be false. Question 21st is Mr. Vijay purchases 2 liters of milk per day when it is priced at 35 per liter, 35 rupees per liter. Suppose he has some guests at home and consequently he purchases 6 liters of milk on that day. What will you call it? It's a very good question. Increase in demand or increase in quantity demanded? Now, if you remember, the difference between increase in demand and increase in quantity demanded is that your increase in quantity demanded is due to change in prices, and increase in demand is due to change in factors other than price. So in this case, what do we understand? The factor is other than price. Mr. Vijay is purchasing more milk not due to reduction in the price of milk, but because he needs more milk due to guests being at home. So the reason would be, the answer to this question would be increase in demand and not increase in quantity demanded. Next one is observe the relationship of the first pair of words and complete the second pair. Chartered accountant is a skilled labor. Welder. So welder is also considered a skilled labor, just like a chartered accountant, because both professions require specific training and expertise. So he is a skilled labor, not semi-skilled. Okay, because don't get confused about this. Welder is considered a skilled labor because you need specific training and expertise to become a welder. Next one is, which of these is not a function of an entrepreneur? The options are innovation, risk-taking, delegation, and having good interpersonal skills. So the correct answer is having good interpersonal skills is not a function of an entrepreneur, because while having good interpersonal skills can be beneficial for an entrepreneur, but it is not considered a core function. The core functions are rest of the three: innovation, risk-taking, and delegation. Question 24th is, what will be the values of 1 and 2? So 1, we have to find out this value and this value. Now in this case, you are given what? You are given price, you are given quantity demanded by A, B, C, and total demand. So it means this is your total market demand and these are individual demands. So what we need to do, we will take the total of 52 minus your 30 and 12. If you subtract these two, which would be 30 plus 12, which is 52 minus 42, which would be 10. So first answer should be 10 and your second is already calculated. Third one would be 22 minus 10 plus 6, which is 22 minus 16, which would be 6. So it means your third option is correct. 10 and 6 would be the answer for question 24th. The last question is, an entrepreneur's income can be negative. True or false? It is true. An entrepreneur can make profit or may not make profit. He's a risk taker, but still he continues the business. So his income can be 0, positive or negative. I hope this helps. These questions are pertaining to the first few chapters. So these are very good to practice for your midterm exam. Wish you all the good luck. Do well. You can follow and subscribe to my channel to get more useful videos related to economics. Bye.